Hello everybody and welcome to Preferred Selection. Today we're here to do some modern budget deck building. Subject I know very little about because I don't play much modern, but we're going to have some fun. I was thinking about what you might want to do if you were building a deck that plays very, very cheap cards. Like let's say that modern became a popular thing at your local F&M, and you've got other formats, but you feel like showing up with a deck. You feel like building something. A popular choice might be Stompy. And when I say budget, I'm talking about a serious budget deck here. I'm talking about you're going in and playing like a $20 deck, because a real modern budget deck is more like, like a modern budget deck you're gonna take to like a Grand Prix or like a PTQ is like a $300 deck. Like Affinity would be an example. This is like you just want to go to F&M and get like, you just want to like 3-1 or whatever with your friends. The deck I had in mind is not traditional green Stompy, but kind of a version I've seen iterations on that use a card that is kind of nostalgic for people. Maybe I don't know if it's nostalgic or not, but we'll say it is. Talara's Battalion is a 4/3 for 2 from Eventide. It has trample, and it has a very restrictive casting cost where you can't play this unless you've played another green spell this turn, which is brutal. It's painful. You basically can't cast it on turn 2 or 3. Maybe you need on turn 3 you play it with like a 1/1 mate, or like a 1-mana card, if you're lucky, if you like holding on to an elf till turn 3, and then if something gets countered, or it's just rough. But when Talara's Battalion was spoiled, people thought, oh hey, I can use Manamorphose, which makes 2 mana of any color and draws me a card, and I can cast Talara's Battalion on turn 2. So this was a thing for like a New York minute, and then it burned up in like the spoiler season. Like people tested it and found out it was bad right away. but people tried it, I guess. I don't know. I was like just getting back into Magic when this was a big thing. But LSV did a video covering like the overhype of this card, and it's an interesting thing. And it got me thinking, we've got a lot of green spells that work with this guy that weren't out back then, and they're kind of interesting options that let us cast this guy without. Oh god, here we go. So the first take of this video, I spent a long time trying to get this card to show up. I'm getting less lag now, thankfully. But Burning Tree Emissary is a creature that hopefully you all know if you've been playing much lately. It is a 2/2 that has seen some competitive play that makes the same, it makes 2 mana, makes Gruul mana when it comes out, and allows you to totally just slam a Talara's Battalion on the table. The disadvantage, I guess, is that it doesn't draw you a card, but it lets you have a 2/2. So let's say we're playing aggressive deck, and we lead with a 2/1 on turn 1, and then turn 2 we go Burning Tree Talara's Battalion. That's 8 power on the board. That's really good. That's great. 8 power on turn 2 is basically asking your opponent, do you have a fire spout or whatever the deal 3 to everything is in your hand, or don't you? Or at least a pyroclasm, which doesn't kill Battalion. But your opponent's going to have removal or they're dead very quickly. Very quickly. So that's pretty good. That's a decent amount of power on the board from turn 2. This is just kind of a dump your hand deck. And one of the things I'll point out right now is with Manamorphose and Burning Tree, we actually have 8 red sources. So if you prefer to build this as kind of like a green Stompy with like a red splash, you could do the splash very easily. You could, let's say you're not doing budget. Let's say you're just going Stompy. You could add in fetch lands and, like the friggin' card, Stomping Ground, and you could really go to town with some fixing. But I think that's kind of already like you just at that point just play zoo. If you're gonna bother with buying fetch lands and whatnot, this is the $10 version of the deck, and we're not gonna stretch to get red sources in here. You can come up with that on your own later. Maybe this is Green Moon to go along with Blood Moon. I don't know. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Mutagenic Growth is another card we get that allows us to go nuts with Burning Tree or Talara's Battalion, because we can play. Let's get a 1-drop in here so we can get an example. Yeah, that's a fine one. Will it? Yeah, there we go. So this is just a Savannah Lions. It has to attack each turn, so I don't know if it makes the cut. It might. A Tattermunge, 2-1 for 1. It's exactly what we want. If we can't attack, we're dead anyway. So we play Tattermunge on turn 1. It's our turn 1 play. Then turn 2, we Mutagenic Growth, hit them for 4. Drop a Talara's Battalion. That sounds good to me. Sounds good to you. Good. I'm glad it does. All right. So yeah, that's another tool that they didn't have in Eventide for Talara's Battalion. And yeah, I think we're starting to kind of form a plan with this deck. We've got 20 cards on the table, so we know we're going to be playing like between 16 to 18 forests. So we're getting close to what I'd say the deck is going to be. And I think I really want to load up on 1-drops, because I want 1-drops to be like the backup, because when we don't have our perfect hand, let's say we draw a hand that's like, the worst thing you can ever draw is like 2 Talara's Battalion, by the way. Let's say we draw a hand that's not that bad, but no. All right, I needed to get it. Let's get another. Let's say we draw a hand like 2 1-drops and a Talara's Battalion. We can go 1-drop, and then we don't draw anything else. I don't know why we kept a 3-spell hand, but we go Talara's Battalion, or we go Dryad Militant turn 1. Then turn 2, we play like another 2-drop that we drew, the other magical 2-drop that we kept this hand for. And then because we're loaded up on 1-drops, we can keep playing. We can play Talara's Battalion turn 3 just fine. I think there's 2 ways to build this deck. There's like 2 1s for 1-drops, and then there's Mana Dorks. But the option I'm going with is like full on Stompy. I want to play a 2-power creature on turn 1, and then I want to play a 3-power creature or better on turn 2. That's what I want to do with this deck. The ideal opener is like Militant. Let's say you get. Is this even a possible? Yeah, let's say you get 2 forests, Militant, and Burning Tree, Talara's Battalion. Militant comes out, 4 Burning Trees go down. You play your Talara's Battalion and pray they don't have a Pyroclasm. But that's 14 power on turn 2. Can you beat that? And that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Pretty good, guys. I don't know what else you want from me. But yeah, that'll stop most of their shenanigans. Oh, and because we're worried about Pyroclasm, and because we need more creatures anyway, let's get some Strangleroot Geist in here. Yeah. So Stompy is not like a subject of expertise for me. Neither is Modern, but I've played Modern before. I just don't play it. I don't consider it like a format I'm an expert on. But I have played Stompy in the form of the Pauper deck. I used to play a lot of Pauper, and Stompy was kind of a favorite of mine. What other 1 and 2 drops am I missing? Well, actually, I'm gonna load up the since this is like the second try through this video. I'm just gonna load up the version I had, and we'll talk about the other cards that went in. Okay, so sort by cost. Experiment 1 was the 4th 1-drop that went in. It's pretty good with Talara's Battalion because most of our other 1-drops turn Experiment 1 into a turn 2, and then most of our 2-drop, well, Strangleroot Geist is the one exception I grabbed, and I guess maybe not. Some of our 2-drops turn Experiment 1 into a 3/3 if we can get it up there, and if we curve out into like 2-drop or 2/1 3/3 4/3. If we Talara's Battalion at some point, we can get Experiment 1 up to a 4/4. It's possible with Talara's Battalion. I think Experiment 1 will probably be a 2/2, but that's fine, or a 3/3. But that's good enough. So Experiment 1 makes the deck. Colonian Tusker makes the deck because it's a 3/3 for 2, and you'll notice when I cost sort this, we're not playing any 3-drops. We're not playing Leatherback Bailoff, the 4/5 for 3. We're not playing Kitchen Finks, because we don't care about Kitchen Finks. We don't need to gain life. What's life for? We're just trying to beat down. So Mutagenic Growth, I did play all 4 copies. Rancor doesn't really help with Talara's Battalion. I mean, we could, turn 3 Rancor up a creature and then play Talara's Battalion. But the reason Rancor's in here is because it's insane. It's just a really good card. So we want it as a thing to use to put some pressure on. Gather Courage is another card we'd play. Gather Courage is kind of like, I won't even show it because it didn't make the deck. But it's like Mutagenic Growth, only not as good. It causes you to tap down a creature to play it for free, which is, we'd rather pay the life. What else? Is there anything I didn't cover? The 2-drops. I'll show once again. 16 2-drops, 16 1-drops, 8 pump spells, 16 lands. I'm only playing 1 Treetop Village. It could probably be 2, but that's okay. And I do have more forests on this account. I don't know why it gave me red forests. But we're playing 15 forests, so you should have, in your opener, you should be able to play stuff. I don't know if I like having the 1 treetop, but I think it's fine. I think it's fine for now. So yeah, that's the deck idea. Thank you for joining me today. If you like the video, and if your friend's saying, "Hey, I've got like draft uncommons from M14, and I could never go with you to a Modern event, guys. Like, I don't have the cards for it." Show them this video, or don't, or just tell them about these cards. This could like play you into top 8 at like a little F&M. It's passable. It's just a lot of damage, and if your opponent keeps a hand without a Pyroclasm, which you don't always have an opener with that, then this is fine. This is a really solid beatdown deck, I think. And sideboard options like there's like Skylash or Great Sable Stack. There's a bunch of like can't be countered things for like if you're worried about blue counter magic. There's Thrun. There's things you can do. Against red deck wins, you can play Finks. I don't think you care though. The real problem is like what to play against Wraths. And I mean like the 3 mana Wraths, like the red Wraths that do 3 damage to everything. And for that I don't know. Maybe Eldrazi Monument. But I think that's enough for now. I think that's enough to go on. Hopefully this is helpful to you guys. And yeah, I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.